Are you planning on moving to Des Moines? Are you planning on relocating? Maybe you got a job transfer. Maybe you want to move closer to family, or you are a family. You want to move to the Midwest because you've heard the Midwest is the best place to raise a family. If that is where you're at, my name is Darson Grantham. I'm a real estate agent licensed here in Iowa with Keller Williams. But on this channel, we don't talk about real estate. We don't talk about the houses all that much. We really talk about what it truly looks like to live here, because I live here with my family. I've lived downtown. I've lived out in the country. I've lived in small town rural Iowa. I understand what you're going through and what you're trying to determine when you're moving to the Des Moines Metro. And on this video specifically, we're going to go through the 16 pros and cons. We're going to go through 8 pros and 8 cons. And just a heads up, you're going to get a mixture, because to some people the pros are the cons and to some people the cons are the pros. So let's dig in. One of the main reasons people move to Des Moines is the cost of living. The jobs that you're getting paid for in the upper echelon, your white collar, because Des Moines Metro really is a white collar community. Even though we have blue collar areas, in general, the sentiment is it's a white collar community in Metro, because we have a lot of finance, we have a lot of insurance, we have a lot of banking jobs. But the cost of living, the cost for groceries, the cost for milk, the cost for gas, the cost for housing, the cost for insurance, it's all fairly affordable comparative to other cities of our size. Now, let me remind you, Des Moines is 700,000, we're not even close to a million in the Des Moines metro area yet. So we are not that million population city. We still are around that 750,000, maybe 800,000 for population. Again, in the Des Moines metro. Des Moines proper is about 250,000. So that's where you'll see kind of the differences. Another big pro of living in the Des Moines metro or the Iowa area is the friendliness. Now, we kind of make fun of each other. In Iowa, it's kind of a known thing that like we're super friendly, and it's called Iowa Nice. There's a guy that did a whole YouTube video on it. But really, like, it's amazing the people that I'll have travel here to start looking for houses, and we'll go around, they'll stay at a hotel, they'll stay at an Airbnb, they'll go to a rrestaurant, and they come the next day after we looked at houses the first day, and they'll say, Darson, I knew that people here were friendly, but I didn't really realize how friendly. I didn't know how to equate it, but it's just something that you just can't articulate until you experience it. And that's one thing that Iowa has. Like, we're just very friendly. We're gonna help you out. We are here to help. It's just how we were raised, I guess. And I haven't seen that change a lot. 12, 15 years I've lived in the Des Moines area. Now, small town Iowa is an even greater example of that. If you go to small town Iowa, if you walk into a convenience store, the odds of someone holding that door open for you is incredibly high. It's just how it is. So I grew up in that small town. Now moved to the big city for 12, 15 years. Still, people holding doors, people helping out, neighbors helping, communities helping. It is something that we pride ourselves on, and you're gonna see a lot of it if and when you choose to move to Iowa or the Des Moines Metro. Another huge pro that I've heard people say, and I've experienced it with our family and how we eat, is the proximity and the prices for you to get organic, healthy, non-GMO, pasture-raised food or pasture-grazed food. It's really pretty easy. Now, Iowa is known as agricultural, but really it's agricultural on the big, massive, large farm scale, not as much on the homestead scale. It's really not a very popular thing to grow your pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised beef, grass-fed beef, that type of thing. But if you can find it, and I can help you find it because that's what we eat, it's very affordable. It's very reasonable cost, and you will be pretty surprised with the quality that you're going to get out of it. So that's one of the huge pros of living in the area, living in Des Moines Metro, living in Iowa, is that affordability for humanely raised, pasture-fed, pasture-raised, grass-fed type food. Next on the list of the pros for living in Iowa, living in Des Moines, are the things to do. I think it amazes people when they do move here. If you just open your eyes, get on the right chambers, get on the right mail list, ask me, the number of things there are for you to do as a family, as an individual, and stay active, stay in the community, and develop relationships is massive. Now, Des Moines is, like I mentioned earlier, 750,000 people. In the metro 750,000. Des Moines proper is 250,000. It's actually a pretty small community. And then when you narrow down into a community level, you go to the same restaurants, you go to the coffee shops, you're going to start meeting the same people. If you're going to go volunteer, you're going to see them in other parts of the city, at Target, at Walmart, at Fresh Time, wherever. You're going to start seeing that and building that community. Things to do, like there is a lot. Now, I named some grocery store type stuff, even to the point of like the festivals that we have, the concerts that we have, the art festival. You have a couple new amphitheaters that are going in. There are just a lot of things to do in Des Moines. Next on the list for the pros is the traffic. The traffic in Des Moines. Coming from small town Iowa, I thought that driving 5 minutes to the neighboring town was a long drive. I moved to Des Moines, and driving 20 minutes to get across the entire city is now a very short period of time when you're comparing to Chicago, San Francisco, San Diego, Denver. Your commute times could be hours. It's bonkers. Des Moines doesn't have that. And it's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of expansion into the more rural farmland area is because the builders of new developments have realized, if we just build this literally in the middle of a cornfield, this new home development, people still have a 30-minute drive to downtown and they're living way outside of town. Now you're in a development, you have neighbors really close, but you don't have the hustle and bustle of the big city. Developers found that people have bought those homes and they're continuing to buy those homes. And I think that is a huge indicator of the very small and short commutes that you're seeing in Des Moines. Next on the list is very controversial. The day I'm recording this, about a week ago, we had negative 35 wind chill. Negative 35. People's homes were not being insulated well enough, not being heated. The water pipes were freezing. Now, there are tricks around that, and we can get into that in another video. It's not something to be scared of. Usually it happens with older homes, but you need to be aware of it. Anyway, it was negative 35 degrees. Today, it's 55 degrees. That's a huge swing. And so weather is something that Iowans, we laugh at, we make fun of each other at, we always talk about. It's so funny. We always talk about weather. And I consider weather in Iowa to be a pro because it's really only bad for 2 months out of the winter and 2 months in the summer. July, August, maybe a little September, really hot, super hot in most cases. You have a few hot days in June or maybe late September, but really your August, maybe a little bit July, maybe a little bit of September, really hot, hard to do much outside. Likewise, in the winter, your January, February, maybe late December are really cold, like they're brutal usually. So those are 2 months on each side, so 4 total months that are really brutal. The rest of the months, I would say when you get a nice day, you're so grateful to live in Iowa and love and appreciate that weather. I'm a positive person. You know what? I'm gonna turn my hat backwards. I'm a positive person. I absolutely love the weather because it makes you grateful when you have bad days. The days that are good, you're so grateful for that weather. And the color changes, your grass is green. Now, there's some dreary days in the spring and the fall when the snow melts or all the leaves fall off and you have bare trees and it's kind of ugly. When you're listing your house for sale, you always want to take photos in the spring and summer if you're going to list in the fall because your fall photos are just ugly. It's just how it is. Everyone knows it here. So the weather is a huge pro, in my opinion, for living here as long as you can keep that positive attitude. Next pro for living in Iowa would be the job opportunities. Now, there are an array of businesses. No huge businesses, maybe I guess except Principal Financial. There's a big Wells Fargo branch here. It's not the headquarters, but it's a very big part of the community. But Iowa has a very diverse workforce. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, pretty white collar, to be honest. It has a lot of insurance, a lot of banking, a lot of financing, but there are a lot of smaller tech companies that are growing, some larger tech companies, ag companies, mixed between ag and tech, ag and insurance. There's just a lot of varied industry type stuff. You have a lot of manufacturing in small town Iowa. I used to sell employee benefits back, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I would go around to the small towns in Iowa and I would talk to the HR and the CEO and CFO, and we talked to the manufacturing companies to help them work on their employee benefits program. Now, doing that, I got to meet and see a lot of that small business around the state of Iowa, and it is massive. It is actually, I think if you lumped all that together, it would overtake what you're seeing in Des Moines for amount of business, but it's just so splattered. It's, a 35 person manufacturing company here, 150 manufacturing company here. And so really it's all spread out around the state, but it all kind of accumulates to the size of Des Moines. And Des Moines has really a lot of those white collar jobs, a few manufacturing, but the job opportunities here, if you're looking for a job and you're willing to work, because we work hard in Iowa, we don't look for handouts. It's one of the things that we're known for. Usually you're not going to see many people looking for handouts. Comparatively, we are here to work. And if that's you, you're going to find a job opportunity. We don't go way down when there's hard recessions, but we don't go way up. I looked at a map the other day and the home values, percentage of states, right? So Iowa's values went up like 42% in the last 5 years. It was, I think, the third lowest of all of the states, but we don't go down when we have hard downs. I think the 08-09 crash, I think the lowest we went down was like 8% in 1 year. We just don't go down. We don't go way up. And that's, I think, a lot to do with our job opportunities, because when you have a stable job and workforce, you really don't get that economy swings. And then last on our pros for the list is the nightlife. If you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I would have known, what bars are open, who's bartending, where you should be on Friday night, Tuesday night, Monday night, Wednesday night. I could have done it all. Now, 7 years later, we have a 5-year-old, we have a 3-year-old, we have a 1.5-year-old, and we have a 6-month-old, 6-week-old, 8-week-old. Anyway, 4 kids, 5 and under. I couldn't tell you the nightlife except when my wife and I go out on date nights. We go to sushi, we go have barbecue, and it is jamming. Like, there are new restaurants, there is new nightclubs. There are a lot of movement in the restaurant scene, especially after COVID. We kind of had a flushing out of people that really didn't know what they were doing or weren't really stable. And so we've had an influx of new restaurants. It's been really cool. The nightlife, whether you're staying out till 2 a.m. or you're just going out for a date night with your wife because you want to get away from the kids for a while and you want to pay a babysitter, that's me. It is great. We absolutely have a fun time going out on the town for what we consider out on the town. And before we get into the cons, let me remind you, my name is Darson Grantham. I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams. If you're looking for an agent to help you move to Des Moines, that's what our team does. I put these videos together to make sure that you find the right community, the right town, the right suburb, to make sure that it fits you and your lifestyle. I don't care if you pick Urbandale. I don't care if you pick Waukee. I don't care if you pick Des Moines North, Des Moines South, Southern Hills. I don't care. I just want to help you pick and be transparent around what Des Moines is actually like to live here. What is available? Are you going to like it? Give my best opinion on restaurants, my best opinion on places to take the kids to give them activities, things to do in the winter, things to do in the summer. I try to do that on this channel. So if that is interesting to you, please subscribe. Please reach out. My information is below. Click on my calendar. We'll schedule time on my calendar that meets with you and your spouse, your family, and we can just do a Zoom call. We do a Zoom call and we try to figure out, hey, what's the best place for you, or what are you looking for in the Des Moines Metro? Does it provide that? If you're relocating for a job, how close are you to your job? What's your commute going to be? What restaurants are? What does daycare look like? Where's the dog parks? I can help you out with all that stuff. So if that's interesting to you, please reach out. My information is below in this YouTube video. Text me, call me, email me, all of the above. I'm here to help. So now we're going to get into the cons. I'm going to turn my hat backwards. I'm still positive, but I'm going to turn my head just because I like to do that. One of the big cons in the Des Moines Metro, and remember, Des Moines Metro, you go to the small town Iowa, it's not like this. Des Moines Metro, the property taxes, pretty high. Now our state taxes, income taxes, the governor has put a new program in place. I think it's in 2 years, we're going to have a flat, I think it's 4% tax. Don't quote me on that, I need to look it up. But I believe it's a 4% flat income tax, which is great. But I think that's great. But our property taxes in the Des Moines Metro, whether you're in the suburbs or Des Moines proper, are pretty high. They're going to be 1.5 to 2.1% of the assessed value. Now I say that and I stress assessed value because the assessed value right now on houses is $50,000 to $100,000 below what the market is telling people the house is worth, what people are willing to pay for that house. So remember that. You buy a house, assessed value is going to go up a little bit because the assessor is going to see that a sale happened, but 1.8 to 2.1% of the assessed value. And that's pretty high comparative to other markets. Next on the cons list, and this is my personal opinion, I think we lack good ethnic food in restaurants. Now we have some, but they're small. They aren't well established. They aren't well frequented by the array of people. Usually it's just that ethnicity that goes to that restaurant, which is, I mean, it's good that they support them, but really I think we lack that, the community and the love for those ethnic restaurants, that where you have all ethnicities joining and going to that restaurant. Now, I could be wrong on this. Please point it out if I'm wrong, but that's something that I see a pretty big con. People in Iowa, we're routine. We're kind of boring. We're not too flashy. And so some of those things that we go out on a limb to try, we aren't always willing to go on a limb and try those. That's a con to me. Next on the con list, if you are moving to Iowa, moving to Des Moines, I think it's important to know that there are some niche neighborhoods, niche school districts that make fun of other school districts that's known for being a little, rah-rah or not rah-rah. So, for example, it's very common to know that, and you'll see on different Facebook pages and maybe even shirts, slogans, and Ankeny is one, where Ankeny is kind of, they always say, I'll take a pumpkin latte with my pumpkin spice, or something funny like that. Meaning everyone up there is kind of more hooty tooty, we'll just put it that way. And we kind of get that out west too. Like that's a more, we make fun of those suburbs, and I live out west, so it's something that, kind of southwest, it's something that you need to know about those niche neighborhoods. It's not a bad thing. It is a con. I call it a con just because you need to know that that happens. It happens with every city. I would argue that. Just like Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State Cyclones always makes fun of University of Iowa Hawkeyes. It's just a thing because they're rivalries. Sports rivalries is a big thing. You have some big school districts that have rivalries with other school districts. And so if you have kids, you're going to know this. If you don't have kids, you're going to hear it. You might not experience it, but you're going to hear it back and forth. So just know that happens. If you're looking at community, maybe ask some of those things. Find the community groups, the Facebook groups, and kind of listen in and watch some of the comments on what and who is making fun of who. And is it, something that you're willing to put up with or not? Usually it's not that bad, but you do need to know about it, in my opinion. And that's why I think it's a con. Next con on the list, and I don't have any exact statistics on this, but I see it. And I think it's because we don't have any large business headquartered here. And that is, finding a job is not hard. You're willing to work hard, show up on time. Finding a job in the job market today, which is December 2022, is not hard. But finding a high paying job, $100,000+ job, is more difficult. Now, if you work from home, working out of a company in another city, not that hard, not that big a deal. But if you're looking for a job that's in an office or around the city that's $100,000+, I think there's fewer of those than there are from the $40,000 or maybe $50,000 to $100,000 job prospect. It kind of seems, and I used to work in HR, so I used to see the compensation schedules for Des Moines versus other cities, and I do see that quite a bit. Jobs under $100K, fewer and far between. But you can, if you work hard and move up the corporate ladder to make $75,000 to $100K, it's not unheard of by any means. Over that $100K, you really have to stand out. You have to be at a bigger company. You have to be, proving your value much more than what you might think. Next on the cons list, if you are moving to Des Moines and you like the L train in Chicago or you like the public transit system in New York City, you're going to be very disappointed with the public transportation system in Des Moines. And there's a reason for that. And that was in the pros section that I talked about earlier. And that is, it's easy to get anywhere in like 20-25 minutes in a car. So if you're going to take a bus, you're going to take public transport, it's going to take you longer, and it's not that hard to go buy a $3,000 car and just drive everywhere. So I see that as a huge, it's a detriment to Des Moines, but it's also kind of a positive because it's so easy to get everywhere. People just drive, and the traffic still isn't bad yet. So I would guess that when traffic starts getting bad, your public transport process is going to get better, and we're going to have more utilization. Right now, it's really, really underutilized. And last, something that every single person talks about, in Des Moines doesn't have any professional sports. Now we have lower tier, we have AAA baseball, we have lower level hockey, we have lower level basketball, we have Des Moines Menace soccer. So Des Moines hockey and basketball, I believe, is a AAA type team out of Minneapolis. Minnesota Twins and Timberwolves, I believe. I could be wrong on that. But that's the thing, is like there isn't that high level pro sports. But within a driving distance, you have the Minnesota Vikings, you have the Minnesota Twins, and you have the Timberwolves. You have all three pros up there, and that's a 4-hour drive from Des Moines. You also have Chicago. You have the Chicago Blackhawks, you have the Bears, you got Cubs, you have the White Sox. That's a 5-hour drive, 5.5-hour drive. And then you can go down south to Kansas City. You have the Royals and you have the Kansas City Chiefs. So there are pro sports within a day's driving distance. And you see a lot of that from residents of Des Moines. You have a lot of people driving to those pro sports. So although Des Moines doesn't have the pro sports, you can get your fix. If you are looking to relocate to Des Moines, whether you got a job offer, you're moving to see family, or you're just looking to get away from the coasts, Des Moines is a really good Midwest city. I'm biased. I lived here. I've lived here for 15 years. I've lived in Iowa my entire 34 or 5 years. I don't remember how old I am. So it's a great place to live, great place to raise a family. It's got tons of high record accolades on different records, right? It's a great place to live. But finding that community that fits you is really important. You can live the high life and the luxury life in Des Moines. You just have to find the right neighborhood. You can live the blue collar, millionaire next door life. I love that. You have to find the right community that fits that lifestyle. I can do that. Our agency does that. So if you're interested and you're looking for someone to help you find that community, schedule some time with us. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text. Information is below. Again, my name is Darson Grantham, a real estate agent here with Keller Williams in the Des Moines Metro. Been here for 12, 15 years. I am here to help and just help you be that guide and figure it out for you so that you can make sure that you make the smartest decision.